Welcome. This is Jean Eaton of Information Managers. It is my honor and pleasure to be with you today at Practice Management Nuggets Webinars for your healthcare practice. This is a regular interview series with practice managers, healthcare providers, or trusted vendors who support healthcare practices. Our topics help primary care practice managers, healthcare providers, and owners to implement, maintain, or improve their business and practice administration so that healthcare providers can focus on providing quality healthcare services. I am your host, Jean Eaton, your practice management mentor. Many of you know that my career started as a receptionist and transcriptionist in a busy family medical walk-in practice before I moved into health records and health information management and hospital administration. Now I specialize my consulting practice to independent healthcare practices who want to start, grow, or fix their practice administration so that the healthcare providers can focus on providing quality healthcare services. This week, our guest is Dania Moazzam of Ceridian. Dania, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Jean. Thank you so much for bringing me on the call with you. I'm happy to be there and giving any information I can for your clients.
Thank you. So I met you at an event at the ATB Entrepreneur Center, and you explained to the group the advantages of using online outsourced payroll solutions. Now, I have heard about Ceridian services, and I have several clients who are using Ceridian, but I was surprised to find out how robust and cost-effective the online payroll solution could be, and how many other important features were available that can support healthcare practices. I'm so glad that you agreed to be my guest here today for Practice Management Nuggets and to share this information with my audience. Thank you so much.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
So, Dania, I'm looking forward to all of the information that you have to share with us today during the next 30 minutes. And I know you have a gift for those folks who stayed to the end of the webinar, too. But first, I want to ask you, what is your number one tip for healthcare providers and practice managers about managing payroll and human resources? What do healthcare providers and practice managers need to know about managing payroll?
Okay, that's a great question, Jean. Just wanted to say hi, everyone. My name is Dania. I am a small business consultant at Ceridian. And the number one tip that I can give to healthcare providers and practice managers when it comes to payroll and human resources is this. You have to stay compliant and streamline your operation. As you know, being a healthcare professional, your incomes of your staff are quite high, and therefore the liability on termination of employment can be extremely high, to say the least. Therefore, the employment agreement will limit your exposure and give you more visibility into what you have in your business. I would say the most important thing for you guys to do is make sure that you have the correct documents in place and that you streamline your operations to make sure that you're following over 190 pieces of federal and provincial legislation.
190 pieces of legislation. That's a lot for somebody to know.
Yeah, you're right, and that's where we come in.
So I'm really interested in knowing more about this. So one of the things that I do is I speak about the pink elephant in the room. Every practice has a pink elephant. It's that problem in your organization that just never quite gets fixed. You've created workarounds or promise that you will get to it someday, or that problem is there and everybody knows it's there, but we try really hard to ignore it, or, it's not the highest thing on our priority list. And payroll tends to be one of those problems. It's really important that we get it right. But many times I've helped a healthcare provider to prepare to open their first clinic. And when I ask them how they're going to look after their scheduling and the payroll, they say that their wife is going to help them out with it, or they have a bookkeeper or an accountant buddy in another province who help them out with it. Or even worse, that they hadn't really thought of how they're going to manage their payroll. Sometimes I get calls from the clinics to say, ask for information about how do they have to pay their staff for vacation over. I'll get staff asking me for rules about overtime and when does overtime count and how does it get paid. Or in other situations, the staff that's been there the longest gets the responsibility of all the staff scheduling, and they call me in a panic because they're spending so much time on the scheduling and the rescheduling with holiday requests that they don't get their work done and they don't know the rules about payroll. So they're really struggling with that. There's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah, Jean, of course there is. And to be honest, I get a lot of people asking me very similar questions when they come to Ceridian. How are we able to provide, what are the rules and regulations when it comes to overtime? How should I be scheduling my employees and whatnot? And what we've done at Ceridian is we have come up with these solutions that would fit any practice, starting from one employee companies and growing from there. And the few solutions that we have in place, you are able to get payroll solutions that will help you in that overtime calculations and making sure you're doing the correct gross to net calculations when it comes to that, calculating CTP, EI, whatnot. And we have those solutions over online services or over the phone, depending on what your clients are most comfortable with. We even have a managed payroll solution available for business owners who would like to completely outsource their payroll and concentrate their time in growing their own business. When it comes to scheduling employees, we have another solution that allows your clients to do that. It even allows your clients to do that complicated stat pay calculation. Allows them to calculate overtime and keep a record of their vacation pay. Our solution is available in real-time data, and it gives the ability to employees to even request their time off. That way, the manager is able to easily track all of these requests. In addition, our solutions are all integrated with one another. So as we update any one of our solutions, you don't have to worry about the integration falling apart as a client because you're using all of Ceridian's resources. So we work very hard with our IT team to make sure that integration never falls apart.
Okay. So payroll includes a lot of moving wheels. It's not just getting the paycheck to the employees in a timely fashion. It's all the record keeping that you have to do and give to the employee, and record keeping that the business needs to keep so that you can do your record of employment for your employees and the year-end accounting and the T4 slips and all of that sort of thing too.
Right. Absolutely. So our payroll solutions are built in a way that would include everything from inputting data of your employees to letting us do all your gross to net calculations, offering direct deposit services where we will automatically take out money from your business account and pay your employees. On top of that, we will also be remitting to CRA on your behalf. So amounts such as CTP, EI, anything that needs to be sent in will be done by Ceridian. And on top of that, we will also be directly putting the money into your employees' accounts and providing pay stubs for your employees. At the end of the year, we will also offer T4s and records of employment. So really, by going with Ceridian's payroll system, it's a one-stop shop, allowing you to do all of your payroll calculations and needs.
Now, I know that Ceridian has many different plans, and we're not going to get into all of those details, but we will talk about common scenarios in healthcare practices and how you can successfully implement and use the solutions in your practice. So, Dania, take us on the tour. Show us those things that you think would be most applicable to a healthcare practice.
Perfect. Well, what I wanted to do here, Jean, is first of all, wanted to let everybody know that you are never too small for Ceridian. Ceridian helps businesses of all sizes, and I myself have helped lots of companies with one-employee companies, or even self-employed people who would like to take a salary from their own business. As long as you have one individual you need to pay through your business, you are a great fit for Ceridian. And we have lots of different solutions, like Jean, you have mentioned, depending on, what the scenario would be. So the first scenario I wanted to speak a little bit about is a physician that is opening their first clinic. If they have roughly about 5 medical assistants with shifts on Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, for such a scenario, if you have a question, say, if staff can schedule their own hours, can they clock in and out of any computer, and then staff will be paid every 2 weeks. for a scenario like this, which is pretty common, I believe, in the medical industry, I would say a combination of two of our solutions would work best. The first solution I wanted to talk to you about is our Power Pay solution, which is a cloud-based system that allows your clients to have more control over their payroll because they will be entering information themselves, seeing what the calculation the system is doing, and still submitting the information. On top of that, we would use a part of our workforce management solution, which is a time management solution. This gives the business owners more control and visibility into their business. You get the ability to schedule your employees if they have changing shifts. You have a drop down, you are able to create a number of rotations, and even have all of your employees' information in your system. Hence, if an employee calls in sick last minute, you're always able to pull up that drop down and see who is available with what qualifications. And on top of that, in case you schedule an employee that would result in overtime payment, our system will give you a notification. That will allow you to keep your costs down and not have to, schedule somebody for overtime payment. Now, in this case, if your employees need to take a shift off or put in time off requests, they would be able to do that by our system. They go online and just create a request saying, I want to take a certain day off. This information can be routed off to the manager. The manager is easily able to see if other people are working on this day and if he can approve this vacation. And once he does that, it is all tracked online. So you're always able to see who is working when and what vacation days they have available. When it comes to allowing employees to clock in and out, we have a number of different clocks available. They range from biometric clocks in case buddy punching or time tax is a problem. Then we also have web clocks that can be downloaded onto a computer and just be clocking in and out of that. And on top of that, we even have smartphone apps that allow your employees to clock in and out, and you have the ability to turn off the GPS parameter. You always know where your employees are clocking in and out of. As the solution works, you get very visible, much more visibility into the actual hours your employees are working versus what is scheduled. So you will always be able to calculate their overtime and stat pay. And the benefit of using Ceridian's workforce management system is that these calculations are automatic. You're able to do those stat pay calculations and overtime calculations. And the hours that you collect in the system will be easily moved over to your payroll system by a click of a button. Like I mentioned, all of our solutions are integrated, so you're technically just using one system and inputting information in one and then clicking a button to move it over to the next system, which will do your gross to net calculation and then take out money from the bank account, send remittances to CRA, and directly deposit money into your employee's account, as well as give you a number of different reports showing how this whole process works and what your general ledger entries should be.
Okay. I love it, so that employees can put in or enter when their own availability is and request shifts and request holidays so that employees can, if it works in your organization, generally be responsible for managing their own shifts and only get flagged for the manager to approve it when there's an overtime. Makes so much sense to be able to let the employees work and schedule their own scheduling and know with confidence that you're not going to run into overtime issues and that you've got all the shifts covered.
Absolutely. It's so much easier to see this over a computer screen rather than having a number of different calendars and Excel files that don't talk to each other. So definitely using this solution will give your clients a lot more feasibility into seeing what's happening in their business, right?
Absolutely. Okay. And I like the idea of having that sign in, sign out clock. So a lot of our clinics, the clinic manager doesn't work all of those 12 hours, 7 days a week.
Right.
So we can make sure that the employees are at the right place so they can actually sign in at a designated computer at the clinic, or you could allow them to have access to a smartphone app that has some cool technology. So they have to be within that designated GPS area of the clinic before they can actually clock in to say that they were on site.
Exactly. So you would be able to turn on those GPS parameters, and in case your employee tried to clock in when they're just leaving the house, there'll be a red flag, and you'll know that they did not clock in, say, 5 feet away from the desk that they were supposed to. So it's always you're able to identify those, red flags, and that could open some doors to conversations to employees that are not following the rules.
Okay, excellent. So that works well for a clinic that is just getting started. What about a clinic that has been in operation for a while and is now expanding the number of staff that they have on board? So they're feeling that payroll pain and want to be able to use a more online service to be able to help them out with their payroll solution.
Okay. So say, our solutions work, like I said, really well with all sorts of businesses, whether you're a startup or you're starting to grow. Now, given the scenario that you have a practice that's already been in place, you've decided to grow your team and your business, and you're looking for solutions that will allow you to be online and stay compliant with the industry and the legislation in place. Now, our solutions can solve a lot of problems that busy healthcare practitioners have. In this scenario, clearly, the healthcare professionals don't always have that much time to ensure that the documents that they have in place are all correct and have not lost value with the changing legislation. One thing we can definitely do for such businesses that are growing and say they're moving through different provinces or bringing on additional people, I would say the number one thing you need to make sure you have correct is your legal advisory service. What I mean when I say that is your company's employment handbook, policies, agreements. You've got to make sure that they're all up to date. As you know, every year things change and the government comes up with different legislation. You need to make sure that the handbook that you may have created 10 years ago, that when your practice started, would it still stand in court if there is a problem? So to overcome such a problem, what we have in place, Jean, is a partnership with a law firm. We are able to provide very discounted prices for clients who need legal advice. We do that by partnering up with a law firm out of Toronto. We have 3 different packages that your clients can choose from. And it would range from getting just oral advice from a lawyer for, say, a whole entire month to creating your agreements, handbooks, policies, making sure any kind of documentation that is changed between yourself and your employees is all gone through a legal advisory practice, and they know exactly what you're communicating to your employees. So that can definitely be done through Ceridian just by signing up with our legal advisory service. Now, when you are starting to hire new people, it is very important that you also make sure that the forms, such as CD1 forms, are completed. Now, if you have a business that's expanding and your employees will be all over Canada, for example, it might be hard to have all of your documents, handwritten and completed and kept in one place. For such a practice, we have a solution in place that works really well. It is called our self-service module. That is the ability for you to upload all of your onboarding documents onto a portal alongside any kind of agreements and policies that you want your employees to initial off on. And now, as this is cloud-based, your employees could be, say, in Montreal, and you could be in Edmonton and still be able to get all of this information in a very efficient way. Your new hires would just go onto the portal. They would have to sign off on all of these documents and PC1 forms, initial off on policies and agreements. This way, you are keeping a record of everything that's happening, and you're making sure that in case anything happens and you need to show proof, you as an employer are covered. This gives you leverage as a business owner, as you will be in compliance and will have a record for all of your documents. And as your business grows and there is more need to be scheduling your employees, collecting their time, again, our workforce management solution would work really well with this self-service module as well, because the employees, they could be in any part of the world and enter their hours, and you have access to see all of that information.
Okay. So not only do we find an efficient way to do the payroll, but all the associated record keeping that comes into place about onboarding your employees. And you can host that information at a portal to make sure that it's accessible no matter where the employee is. And they have all of the information in place. So you don't have to go and find all those bits and pieces of papers, so that you've got things ready for the employees when they come onto board.
Exactly, just making it more efficient and one place for all records.
Excellent. Okay. So we've talked about a number of things. We've talked about the online payroll service and being able to do all of the record keeping with the different portals and the different packages with Ceridian. Now, I've taken a look at a number of studies, and they suggest that, for a small practice, for a small business, it may take one dedicated staff person and a minimum of 6 hours a month to manage the scheduling and doing that payroll function. Now, I've done that job before, and if you could get that done in 6 months, I'd be really impressed. Or, pardon me, in 6 hours in a month. So what type of advantages does Ceridian provide as far as making this process smoother? Do you have any studies about how long it might take for a small business to do their payroll if it was all on the outsourced Ceridian platform?
Yes, so we have definitely, it takes out a lot of time from your client's day. So if you're saying it takes normally about 6 hours a month for you to do payroll if you're doing it internally, that would definitely reduce your time commitment by a lot, as we have basically solutions in place that will allow you to do for payroll as low as 1 to 2 hours. You just have to go online, enter the information for your employees, such as gross amounts on what you want to pay them, whether it's salaried or hourly, and the systems will do the gross to net calculation. So you're looking at not even a couple of hours to be able to calculate all of your, CPP, EI, tax amounts. And you don't even have to go to the bank or write checks or do any transfers. That's all handled by Ceridian. So easily you would be decreasing that amount by 50% or more.
I could totally see that. Even just and it gives the employees the added advantage and benefit to be able to have them involved about managing their schedules, and they get direct deposits, which a lot of small businesses just aren't able to offer as a benefit.
Right, for sure. And another benefit would be when you write checks on your bank account, Jean, each check is considered a transaction. When you go through Ceridian, when we take out money from your bank account, it's one lump sum. So instead of, say, for a 5-employee company paying employees twice a month, you're looking at minimum 10 transactions to pay your employee, plus the amount you're sending to CRA. So at least 12 transactions. Whereas if you go with Ceridian, we take out everything as well. So you're comparing it to 2 transactions a month versus 12. If your bank is charging you fees for each transaction, that will allow you to decrease that cost as well.
Excellent. Okay, so now that we're talking a little bit about costs, for that scenario that we're talking about with 5 medical office assistants who get paid every 2 weeks, what type of costs, ongoing monthly costs, would a healthcare clinic incur using the payroll solution?
Okay, so our costs do vary depending on what solution you use and how many employees you have and the frequency of your payroll. To give an example, for 5 employees working, 7 days a week, being paid twice a week, and if they choose our online Power Pay system, each payroll run costs about $36. So you're looking, say, for a monthly fee for the whole entire month to do this payroll, direct deposits, remittances, and whatnot. You would be looking at, I'm going to tell you just 1 second here. So $36 for each run that you are doing. I apologize.
We're looking about $72 for the month.
It's gonna be roughly about $75 for the month.
Excellent. Okay. And that certainly, when you compare that to at least paying a person 6 hours a month just to be able to do the transactions and not getting all of those benefits out of it, it makes it a pretty easy return on investment calculation in my mind.
Yeah. It definitely saves you time and cost, and you have to remember your time is worth money too. So there is an opportunity cost there when you are taking everything on and trying to juggle all your work. That time could be used towards something like growing your business and making sure you're getting more market share. So we have to keep that in mind as well.
Excellent. Okay. And some people just don't like doing payroll. So to not have that task would be a benefit, I think, for many people would consider that a benefit. So Dania, so what is the type of timeline? If you were to go with the Power Pay solution, what type of timeline would be required for the healthcare clinic? What type of lead time do they need to consider to be able to implement the solution?
Okay, well, that's a great question. Now, I'm going to start with our online Power Pay tool to answer this question. Now, some of the steps that are required is, first of all, once you hear about the solution, I would like your clients to give me a call to speak one-on-one. Like you mentioned, we do have cloud-based softwares, but we also have a range of other solutions. And depending on what your need is, it could be different. Now, once you have had a one-on-one discussion with myself, I would identify your needs and recommend what solution would work best for your organization. I would send you an email with all of the information on that solution, a price point, as well as a form which is called Getting Started with Ceridian. I require all my clients to fill out that form and return it to me so that I am able to prepare agreements and set up documents for signature. Once I prepare those documents, I will electronically send them to your clients. They're able to review electronically the documents and sign them electronically as well. We also require a void check for business for a pre-authorized debit, or a form that can be got from a bank. Now, keep in mind that we need this information signed and the void check as well. On a Power Pay, which is our cloud-based system, minimum requirement is 13 business days before payday, so that we can ensure we have enough time to move you over to our implementation team. Once you've provided me with all the information, I pass it on to our implementation team that sends you an email at least 7 business days before your first run with Ceridian, and they set up a time with you. They will give you your main implementation representative as well as a backup who can help you, and then they set up a time where the client is available to speak over the phone and give all the employee-related data and year-to-date information. Once that's all set up, we require that clients give us payroll information at least 3 business days before payday, and that they submit the payment at least 2 business days before payday. That's all what the steps look like for an online-based platform. Now, if your clients are to choose a managed platform where they have to do nothing except talk to a manager who takes care of their payroll, then they would need to give us the heads up of 15 to 20 business days. So timelines do differ depending on the solution they choose, but mostly for payroll, you're looking at 13 to 20 business days.
Okay.
Just want to mention that timelines are the same when it comes to existing and new clinics. It just depends on the solution you choose. If you do go with our legal advisory solution, that can be made available within a couple of days to 2 to 3 days. And our workforce management solution, which is the most popular solution amongst business owners, there is a little bit of a wait time to get to that, and you're looking at about at least a month or 2 months of implementation in that solution.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about some really great benefits here. We've talked about having the managed payroll and the workforce solution, and benefits including, decreasing the time and increasing the efficiency of managing the payroll within your organization. The solution helps you to stay compliant with legislation, which is a really big part of the employee relationship and human resources. And you get real-time data in a way that you have access at the push of a button or signing on to the website about what you're doing as far as your payroll, so that if you're thinking in advance about adding new services, adding new staff, or changing the scheduling, you can see what that impact is to your business easily without having to go to your accountant and trying to run some reports out of that. And the record keeping, it's so important. We have a number of human resources issues about onboarding new people, and people leave that we didn't anticipate. Mm-hmm. And each of those transactions takes time to make sure that you've got the documentation complete, that it's been stored, and it's readily retrievable so that you can do the record of employment, to be able to do reporting as required, and certainly for your annual taxing and business accounting needs as well. These are great benefits with Ceridian. Thank you for sharing this with us, Dania.
Of course, I am happy to be here and, answer any questions your clients might have and, support them and guide them into making these decisions.
Okay. So, Dania is available by the chat and the email, so you can enter that information onto the system right on the chat button here and send us the information. Now, Dania, you've also offered a great opportunity with Ceridian too. Please tell us about it.
Okay. Well, Jean, for your clients, what we have come up with is a package. First of all of your clients are able to get a free payroll and HR calendar, which gives them a lot of information on, the small technicalities that people are always wondering about. So you are able to download your free copy of your Canadian payroll and HR calendar, and it will show you how you can pay your employees accurately and on time all year round. On top of that, what we are able to offer your clients is waived implementation for our online PowerPay accounts and 50% off on our managed payroll implementation as well. So the way they can receive this, all these great offers, is by contacting me. They can call me or email me, and just make sure that you got my information from Jean Eaton of Information Managers, and I'd be sure to offer those.
Excellent. So the calendar I've already downloaded. I'm going to put the link in the chat so people can easily download that information. And it's all sorts of great information. It's a free download, and it will help you manage your payroll. And it's got a listing of all the statutory holidays and all sorts of tips and tricks about managing payroll. So please make sure to download the calendar. All of the links are also on the Learning Resources Guide. So you can download the Learning Resources Guide, and it will have all of the links and Dania's contact information. So I'll put Dania's email address in the chat box on our webinar here, and they're on the slides here as well. So you can connect with Dania by email if you've got any questions. If this sounds like it might work for you, give Dania a call and let her know that you were here and would like to make sure that the Ceridian solution will meet your unique needs in your organizations. You can connect with Dania on LinkedIn and on Twitter and on Facebook. Lots of great suggestions, Dania. Payroll is such an important thing to do, and many of us did not join the healthcare clinic to do payroll. So to have some support and to be able to know with confidence that our employees are being paid appropriately and that there are no lingering issues about managing the human resources, it's great to know that we've got an expert on our Rolodex that can help us with these things. Dania, is there anything else that you'd like to add in wrapping up?
I would just want to thank you, Jean, for giving me the opportunity to talk to your clients and Just want to tell everybody that I am available, like Jean mentioned, whether it's through email or over the phone. Just send me a quick note saying you would like me to call you and discuss some of the information, and I'd be happy to do that. I am based out of Calgary, but I do make lots of trips to Edmonton. So if one-on-one meeting is a must for you, I'd be happy to come and do that as well. And I'm usually in my office Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5. And I would love to chat with any and all of you and see how I can support your business grow further.
Thank you, Dania. I appreciate that you've been here with us today, and I'd like to thank our audience for joining us today. I love surrounding myself with practice managers and healthcare providers who want to start, grow, and improve their practices, and I want to help you with more great tips, tools, templates, and training that you can use right away. Members of Practice Management Nuggets will receive a link after our webinar today with the implementation notes and the learning resources guide, and a link to the offer that Dania has provided here for you with the Ceridian Payroll Solutions. I search for guest experts like Dania who will share their number one tip with you. Let me know if there is a topic or a guest expert that you want to hear on Practice Management Nuggets webinars for your healthcare practice. Thank you, Dania. And thank you to our audience, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you.